I didn't want to do insulin. I knew that. I hate needles. I didn't want to do insulin. And so it was other than Cyrus and Robbie, it was finding a way to not have to do insulin. That was probably the motivating factor for me. Mastering diabetes, number one, educated me as to the effects of food on my body. And that's the most important thing, because if you know now what you're eating and how it's going to affect those blood sugar levels, you can control it if you want to. That was the most important thing. But following the program, following the Mastering Diabetes program, when I took the 10 modules that they have, I was able to bring my blood sugar levels down, substantially down. I was able to drop 32 pounds, and I'm still working on dropping more. And I was able to gain control of how I eat and what I eat, and thereby gain control of my life as far as the blood sugar level goes. And I came across, I came across Cyrus and Robert on a Rich Roll. It was a Rich Roll YouTube presentation where he interviewed them, the two of them. And it was about, 2.5 hours long. But I was so impressed with them. I watched the whole thing the first time through. And I was just really moved by their stories. I was really moved by Cyrus's story, Robert's story, that I started Googling them and looking them up. And then I found their sites, and I found the Mastering Diabetes Facebook site. And I just started following them because that's what I wanted to do, was handle my diabetes the way that they had handled theirs. And they obviously knew what they were talking about. And so one thing led to another. And then they had a presentation on private coaching, and I think a 3-day retreat they were doing. And it said, even if you can't make our 3-day retreat, talk to one of our private coaches. And so I looked at all the coaches, and Marc Ramirez was one of them. And I immediately felt that I would like to have him be my coach, just because I was a college athlete. He was a college athlete. I went to USC back in the days when he was at Michigan. So I said, this is the guy. I'm going to call this guy. This is the guy I want. So I said, this is the guy I want, Marc. So he contacted me, and we hooked up I believe it was late July. We hooked up for the first time, and we talked, and he told me his story. And the guy was just really down to earth, sincere, credible. So I hired him as my private coach, and we started working together once a week. And he's phenomenal. Everything got better once I started working with Marc and following his advice and his instructions. And of course, Mastering Diabetes, the program. My weight came off. I was at 250, which I had never been before. My regular weight is about 185, 187. And I was up to 250. And after working with Marc, within about 3.5 months, I was down literally 32 pounds. My blood sugar came down. I was showing on the early morning blood glucose, where you prick your fingers. I was showing very high signs, like a 3.2, I think it was, 3.5. Even Marc was shocked. He's like, dude, you got to get that down. That's way too high. So within about a month and a half, I was down to, I think it was 2.1 or 2. I mean, we got it way down. And just working with him, he kept me honest. He was sincere about wanting to help me. And I kept him as my coach all the way through December. So I kept him as my coach actually for about almost 6 months. And of course, we grew up kind of along the same lines, in that he grew up, with his mother making Mexican food, which is all fat and lard and chorizo and stuff. And I grew up with the same thing. Everything in my house was deep fried, tacos, chorizo, all the Mexican foods that Mexicans are supposed to eat. It's kind of funny because we kind of joked. I told him when I was first diagnosed with diabetes, I told the doctor, well, if I'm going to die just because I'm eating the foods my mother taught me to eat, then that's the way it is. I don't mind dying. I'm just doing what my mom taught me. But no, I love life, and I still love going out and walking and jogging and being with my friends and playing golf. And Mark said, "Hey, I felt the same way, man. That's what I was raised on." And there's still times when I go into downtown and I see them frying the deep tacos or the chorizo burritos, and you get that smell, and it all comes back. But you got to fight it. You got to fight it. We talked about the struggles of diabetes too. Primarily, the biggest struggle with me with diabetes, and Mark said he had the same thing, is your circle of friends or family don't get it. Okay, they still eat the same things. They still drink, especially with Mexican Americans. They're always bringing out the tequila, and they expect you to do the same thing. And they don't get it until you finally have to just kind of slap them in the head and say, "Look, I have diabetes. Okay, knock it off." But there's a lot of social pressure when you go out. Have a steak, have tequila, have another glass of wine. It's Friday. Come on, do it for Mexico, that kind of a thing. And we Mark and I both go through that, and we went through it, and so we talked about that, and he certainly understood. And then when AMLA came out, I told him about AMLA, and I got AMLA, and I take AMLA twice a day, and I saw my numbers come down even further. And so that was cool. That was really good. And we talked about that. So that's my relationship with Mark. And I was feeling better. I was feeling more alert with the AMLA. I had more energy with the AMLA. It's funny because I've always had energy because I've been a runner. But with the diabetes and the weight, you kind of take it like maybe this is the way it's supposed to be. You start losing your energy. So when the weight obviously came off and the blood sugar levels came down for the morning needle tests, you just feel like you got life back again. And that was good. That was really good. So I shared that with Mark, and he understood. I was shocked. I was shocked because I've always been healthy. I've always been a runner. I've played racquetball. I've played tennis in college. When you're young, being sick, having diabetes, having a heart attack, that's the furthest thing from your mind, especially if you're active. So when they told me I had diabetes, I go, what? How do I have that? I don't drink like my friends. I mean, as I told Mark, I'll go out on a Friday with my friends, mostly Latino friends, Mexican American guys, and they're good people, but they drink. I don't drink like them. They'll drink till 4 a.m. still. I'll have a glass of wine, I'll have a couple beers, and that's it, maybe once every other week on a Friday night. These guys drink forever, and they don't have diabetes. I'm like, so it was kind of like, why do I have it? I've done everything right. I still exercise. It was a shock. It was a wake-up call, but I have to say, I look at it in a positive way because it forced me to educate myself about diet. I was able to bring my blood sugar levels down, substantially down. I was able to drop 32 pounds, and I'm still working on dropping more. And I was able to gain control of how I eat and what I eat, and thereby gain control of my life as far as the blood sugar level goes. I believe in everything that Robbie and Cyrus say and what they teach. And yeah, I will be a fan and a student of Mastering Diabetes as long as I'm alive. It's a great program. It's the best program as far as I'm concerned. And I looked at the other programs. I looked at a lot of the other stuff out there, and it's real. I'm happy to talk to anybody and tell them this is the real deal. If you're going to cure yourself of diabetes, if you're going to get your health back, these guys know what they're doing, and you need to join the program.